welcome to another episode of the Executive Exclusive. I'm your County Executive, Julie Giordano, and joining me, as always, is my sidekick, my partner in crime, and the very best guy in this county who puts up with me and so many different things, is my Director of Administration, Bunky Luffman. So, Bunky, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, it's great to be here, and my wife would question everything you just said.
Well, that's all right. I'll tell Connie that you really are truly amazing at work. I don't know how you are at home, though. So, but we are so excited to be here. As you can see, it's Casual Friday for us. I know we're not really supposed to mention the date, but happy Veterans Day to everyone who is a veteran out there. I'm really excited. One of the things that we talked about in one of our council meetings was making our work environment a little bit more veteran friendly, being able to count the military credit. So I think that'll be really beneficial for a lot of people in the county.
Absolutely. The veterans are vital, not only to our national security, obviously, but also when they come back into their community, they have skill sets that are amazing and that really help us out in local government and in private enterprise.
Yeah, so we're hoping to be able to advertise veteran-friendly organization just because we really want to promote that. So again, happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans here. We wanted to start off with giving you a really quick update on the lawsuit situation. It's been a little bit since we've been here, almost 4 weeks. I was out of town, which I'll talk about in just a few minutes. But just a lawsuit update. So November 5th has come and passed, and so the legislation of defunding the positions is in effect. So right now we do have Matt on administrative leave, unpaid, so we don't want to be messing with funding or anything like that. Right now I feel really confident the judge has I think everything he needs to make a really good decision. We just filed our very last kind of answer to the council's answer, who filed to our answer. So we were going back and forth a little bit. But we think that the judge has all the pieces now at this point in time, and we'll hopefully have a resolution to that really soon. Did you want to comment on any of that?
Well, and the court works at the speed of the court, so we look forward to a resolution sooner rather than later, but we're at the timetable of the court.
Right. But it's not holding up anything in government. We're still moving forward and doing a lot of great things. So the reason that I haven't been on, or that we haven't been here in a while, is the last council meeting I actually missed, the one on October 17th, because I left to go to Nashville. And I was with our Department of Human Resources, Donna O'Hara, and we were at a collective bargaining agreement conference. And both of us felt this was really super important. We have a collective bargaining agreement coming up with our deputies, and so we needed to be a little bit, I should say, better well-versed in some of the CBA negotiations. So we were really excited about that, and we've had a couple of meetings since then.
Yeah, and we also brought on Cheryl and former Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford as legal to guide us through the collective bargaining agreement. Yeah,
we're excited to have both of them. They're very, Cheryl Brown and Boyd Rutherford, both really great attorneys, and so we're really looking forward to their guidance through this whole process. So Nashville was great. If you ever get a chance to go, I highly suggest it, but it was a really good conference as well. So moving on, I know you didn't get to go, but I know you saw pictures, but we were so excited because it was the opening of the Junior Achievement Center and an amazing ribbon cutting. We had our delegates, our senators there. Oh my gosh, it was hundreds of people there, people from the school board, community, just all these different organizations. And they are so excited for Jamie Hayes and her group because, it's just something that is needed. And your son actually got to do some junior achievement last year. So what were his thoughts of it when he went?
Oh, he really liked it. It was held at the Civic Center at that point, and he really loved it. And I know Delegate Anderton, one of my former bosses, Delegate Anderton, worked really hard talking to the governor's office and securing state funding on this. So I know that day was a really good day for him, and he was really proud to see something he worked so hard for over multiple years to see it come to fruition. So
yeah, that has to be one of the best and rewarding things about being a delegate or a senator, when you're pushing for things in your community, and especially here on the shore. It's hard. Sometimes I feel like we're overlooked, and I feel like Delegate Anderton does such a good job at making sure that we're not forgotten here on the shore, as well as our other delegation. But I know that he really is a big voice in Annapolis, and I'm really appreciative of him and his efforts. So I know Jamie is as well, and we got to go in and we saw the town, and we got to eat Chick-fil-A that day. So every day's a good day when you get to eat Chick-fil-A. So any day's a good day. So we're excited. It's going to be great for our students, financial literacy, all kinds of cool things that they're going to be able to learn. So my Jack will now get to experience it in this upcoming year. So I'm excited about that. And then speaking of funding, we were just in Annapolis, and I don't know if you want to talk about the funding that we were able to secure while we were up there at the Public Works meeting.
Yeah, so Board of Public Works sees major projects. They have to vote on them. It's something that's unique to Maryland. The governor, the comptroller, who are elected by the citizens, as well as the treasurer, who's elected by the General Assembly, make votes on these large projects. So our projects were one in Wood-Tipton to help with fishing. Right now there's an area where people fish along the road. It's a county road that's not particularly wide, so it can be dangerous. So we're doing a fishing area there, and the state, through program Open Space, is going to help fund it. And then the other part is Pirates Wharf, which we're really excited about. It's open right now. We haven't done a ribbon cutting. We kind of did a soft launch where people could come out and enjoy it, and then we'll do a ribbon cutting a little bit. So it is open right now, but we also secured funding for sort of the next construction that's going to be going on out there. So that was exciting.
Yeah, I thought we did a good job, just going up and I don't know if we were the changing of the minds or anything like that, but I think it was really important for the governor and leadership in Annapolis to see us there and to know that these projects are important to us and that the leadership is grateful and thankful for everything that they're doing. So that was one reason that we went. And I didn't have this written down, but it just reminded me of the letter that we got from MDOT. So not only did we get funding through this, but we also got funding for our airport, but not what you're thinking, and we're going to talk about that AMT school in just a minute, but do you want to go ahead and tell them about the funding?
Yeah, so it was a little over $500,000 for our runway extension, which is incredibly vitally important for our airport. It allows it to take different airplanes and what have you, and helps us remain competitive with other airports our size. And honestly, it helps us, be better than other airports our size, because runway really matters. And I think that this funding, we've talked to the Secretary of MDOT multiple times on transportation in the airport, and us going to Annapolis also helps with this. I know that sometimes we'll get a question, well, why do you go to Annapolis, what have you? Some counties literally have staff members that during session stay in Annapolis. Baltimore County has a Baltimore County House with staff, in addition to who they may have on contract as a lobbyist or that kind of thing. Of course, as we're a smaller county, we don't have that. But it is really important that we're force multipliers for our delegates and senators. Having a county executive testify on a bill is a big deal because there are so few of them in our state. So we're up there and we're active. And honestly, I think this funding in part is because of how active we've been on the airport and pushing the airport as a project and an economic driver for the lower shore.
Yeah, and I think MDOT in doing that, I think it just really shows how important it is to us that the airport is such a big, vital piece of our administration and how much we really support it. And so we were really excited to get that money from them, for the airport extension. And then moving on with the airport, but staying on that topic, is we got our second airplane in for the AMT school. It was this Cessna. It was this small little airplane. I don't know if any of you caught it on Facebook. I went Facebook Live on it. It is so awesome. And the reason that I filmed it is because I wanted the public to see that we are moving forward with it. A lot of times the public hears, oh, we're getting an AMT school, but they don't hear the updates. And so I want to keep the public up to date. And I also texted the governor and showed him the picture, and I got the thumbs up right away. And so keeping him up to date on it, which is going to be vitally important because of the ask that we've asked of the governor, And when we were up at Public Works, he sort of made mention that he was, going to be helping us fund part of that airport and part of that project, so for the new hangar. So that is very exciting.
And we're really lucky to have both Dave Ryan at Salisbury-Wicomico Economic Development, also known as SWED, and Tony Rudy, our airport manager. We also have a new deputy airport manager, which is really great to see that second position filled as well. But to have them in place, that we really have a good team to push for not just funding, but for these projects and project management overall.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so more updates will come from the airport, just because I feel like every other week there's something happening, which is really exciting, and we'll always keep you up to date on that. Sort of shifting gears to our youth and some cool things going on, Main Street. So we got to go to the Main Street gym boxing fight. I guess they're bouts. And this kind of brought you back to your past because of you being a boxing writer. So what were your thoughts on the fights?
Yeah, so I was a boxing writer for several years, long enough that I became a member of Boxing Writers Association of America and got to vote on who went in the Hall of Fame, which was incredible to be able to do that, and hard to give up when I quit covering boxing. But it was great. There is sort of youth and up youth and up to adults. There were some fights that I believe had adults in them. They certainly looked old enough to be adults.
Yeah.
But it was great. And one of the things that I don't think the general public knows or understands is, how Chernoff, who is amazing, who really helps run, or who runs Main Street along with his board members, they really do a great job, not just instructing in boxing, but there are transferable skills. And boxing is really difficult. There was an ESPN poll by professional athletes several years ago. It was voted the hardest professional bout by NFL players, baseball players. All these players said, no, boxing is the toughest because you have to put in so much effort. You got to do cardio, you do some weightlifting, you do the fighting, you obviously get hit. So it is a very difficult sport. But on top of that, Hal also does an after-school program. So he also very strongly values their education, their decorum in schools, discipline. There are so many things that Hal and his organization are instilling in the youth of our community that's all positive. So I really love supporting the Main Street Gym whenever I can.
Yeah, no, me too. So Jack has boxed there. My Jack has boxed there since he was 7. And he needed a sport where he was responsible, where it wasn't a team. He couldn't blame the team. He couldn't blame anything else. He needed to have it on him. And that one-on-one in boxing, and I think people have it in wrestling and things like that as well, but that one-on-one in boxing, I think, is really important for some kids. And like you said, with Hal and his group, it is that holistic approach because they support education. They support keeping kids off the street. They support just a positive community atmosphere. And I think that he just does amazing things. So I thought it was great. Your boys got to go, friends of ours, their kids got to go. And so I think it was just really nice to be able to support the community. So really good event. So great job, Hal, and giving a shout out to Main Street Gym. And speaking of shout outs, we have to give one to Parkside High School. I did not teach at Parkside. My husband didn't go to Parkside. My child didn't go to Parkside, Jordan, but Evan did graduate from Parkside. But we want to give a shout out to the Parkside Marching Band. They are national champs, and I think that's huge. That is amazing here on the shore. I mean, to be national champs, and we're right here in Wicomico County. So big shout out to Parkside High School for that. And moving on to celebratory stuff, we were just at our Department of Corrections, which sometimes it's hard to have a celebratory moment when you're out at the jail. But this was so cool. So one of our COs, Rita Ampifo, became a U.S. citizen. And our warden, I think, has done such a great job at not only kind of bringing people together with the COs, but she has done such a great job at making sure to recognize them in their personal and professional life. And this was something that just needed to be celebrated. And so do you want to talk a little bit about what they did for her?
Well, it was great. So the warden threw, and I didn't know this was a surprise thing, but so we get there, we're all in a room together, and then the CO walks in, and she had no idea that we were going to be there and celebrate her becoming a U.S. citizen. And there were, a couple dozen COs, different people that work in the correction facility were there, and it was just a great event.
It really was. It really was. And I was so grateful that they even thought to include us. And so we were able to give her kind of a proclamation from the county and just congratulating her on becoming a U.S. citizen, because that is no easy task. I hear that test is one of the hardest tests. So and all the things that they have to go through. So we were really happy. And then the last thing that we are going to talk about today, which is going to take a few minutes, is the last council meeting. So we didn't really talk too much about the 17th. There really wasn't anything too controversial, I don't think, on there. There was something that didn't get voted on, but then got voted on this last one. But two of the things we want to talk about are we got 2 new members for our Police Accountability Board. So we had put it out there for people to apply. As controversial as the Police Accountability Board is, the legislation was, I was actually kind of, it was a little heartwarming that we had so many citizens that wanted to serve. We got gosh, I want to say close to 10, I think, resumes. So they were able to interview and they were really able to pick the best candidates. And I think that that is so vitally important. I mean, I would assume that you would agree to have that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and they serve a vital function too, and that's not easy serving on a police accountability board. There's some training you have to go through. Of course, there's hard conversations that you're a part of in doing that. So it was great to see that many people step up and want to participate.
Yes, and so we were able to secure 2, and they both accepted, and the council voted them on. And so we have our Police Accountability Board coordinator now, Jessica Lewis, and she will get them all caught up on everything that they need to with the guidance of Andrew Illuminati, our attorney. So we feel very confident in our 2 choices. And the last thing that we're going to talk about was the very last thing, and I did feel bad for the city because, of course, they were going through their mayoral race that night, and I would talk about that, but it's not 100% secure yet or finished yet with the vote counts, so we don't want to talk about it too much, but was the fire service agreement. And this has been, I feel like it's the elephant in the room, and we're trying to I don't know how to, like, what's the saying, how to eat an elephant like one bite at a time. I feel like this is what this has been. And since we have been in office, it has been something that we have worked through meeting after meeting after meeting. And I felt very good about how we handled it in the fact that the very first thing that we did was bring our fire chiefs in the surrounding areas of Salisbury to see if they're able to cover any more area. And that was Delmar, Fruitland, Hebron, and Parsonsburg. And they just couldn't. I mean, they're stretched very thin. We know that our volunteer firemen, the recruitment and retainment efforts are really tricky right now, and it's hard to get people. We don't have people volunteering the way that we used to. And so that was step 1. And once we realized that, okay, these are the areas, there's 3 areas that Salisbury covers, we really need to work through this agreement. And we knew it was going to be a little contentious. So did you want to add anything? You were like a spectator in the back watching this situation go down. So
I was gladly a spectator.
Yeah, I bet.
So just so people watching know, so there's 3 districts that the city of Salisbury covers, 3 fire districts, which include a significant amount of people who work or who live in the unincorporated area, the city area. So the fire service agreement is not the county paying the city for all their calls.
Right.
Because the taxpayers of the city of Salisbury pay them for the city of Salisbury calls. But we pay them for specific calls that they do in the unincorporated area. And they don't include things like mutual aid that's not paid for or self-dispatch that's not paid for. But and I don't want to get too in the weeds, but there are calls that the county's paid for. This has been an arrangement that's went on. There's been, I think, 3 contracts so far, different ones. Currently, the last contract we had expired June 30th of this past year. So currently, the city is working without a contract. So we have not come to an agreement on how much or how we're going to pay them. We've done 2 different models. One is giving the city the same amount we give to volunteer areas, and that we did that a while ago, several years ago. And then they went to a fee per call model. And now the current one is we would sort of go back to the other model where we give all the fire departments an amount, a fee for each district that they cover. So Salisbury would get 3 fees because they cover 3 different districts.
Right, and I think that's where kind of a lot of that contention comes in, where a lot of people will say, well, Salisbury's only 1 fire company. And that is true. That is true that they are 1. But they do cover 3 fire districts. And so if another fire company, just say Hebron, that's where I live, covered 2 fire districts, we would pay them the amount times 2. And so we have 14 fire districts. We have a set pot of money. We divide it by 14, and we felt that that was really fair and reasonable. And if you look, and just so you understand, Bunky was talking about what the city goes to. If there is a call on Tyler Avenue is kind of in the heart, kind of part of the city, but it is a county resident. Or it's a county residence and it's a county road. So when the city has to go there because they are the closest fire department, we pay them to cover that fire district or that street or that house because they are a county resident. Or if the city goes all the way down to anywhere in Nutter's Crossing, they cover Nutters as well. So any of my friends that live in Nutter's Crossing, you're getting Salisbury City Fire coming. And you want to have the quickest fire department coming when you obviously need them, or ambulance coming, EMT service or whatever. So we do owe them, and so we do have to pay them for what they're doing, and they cover a lot of calls. I mean, they do. When we looked at the amount of calls that are covered, and that is not to say anything about any other fire company. It's just that the volume of people are here in Salisbury. They're closer to the city, so there's going to be more calls there. But they cover a lot of calls, and so the fact of us, trying to get them an equal amount, not any more than our that our volunteers get, but an equal amount, we felt was very fair. So we'll see how that kind of pans out. But that's what you all probably saw at the council meeting. So the good news is that we do have some issues, and I think all of our fire chiefs and all of the people in the fire companies, they know that volunteering is becoming more and more limited and scarce, and we don't have the recruitment and retainment that we probably should have, or the ability to do so. So one thing that we've asked the state to do is to come in and do a SWAT analysis. This is a free service. We don't have to pay anything, and the state comes in and looks at how we are doing things, and they will look, and what it stands for, strengths, weaknesses,
opportunities and threats.
Opportunities and threats. I always forget the O, but yes, opportunities and threats. And so what they're going to look at is, a lot of different things. Is the way we're doing things correct? Is there a more efficient way of doing things? Is there a more financially responsible way of doing things? So I think they'll kind of give us a lot of good data to go off of. And it doesn't mean we have to use it, but it will be there. And they are a third-party source. They are an outsource. So we don't have, there's really not that worry of, well, the county's saying this, or the fire chiefs are saying this, or whatever the case may be. But it is a third party, kind of looking in. And this is what they do. So, yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
And the fire chiefs voted in favor of the SWOT analysis as well. Yes. So it has buy-in of the people that, who are going to be analyzed. Essentially, their companies, all those fire companies, are going to be a big part of the analyzation, and they've bought into the idea. So that was really important.
Yes, absolutely. And we always want to keep them involved. Anything that has to do with the fire companies, we obviously have to keep our chiefs and everything involved. And I feel very confident in that I have tried to keep those companies that need to be involved in certain things up to date. We attend fire meetings, we go to the fire chiefs meetings, and really try to, keep them, the information flowing and, that transparency as well. So, but other than that, I think that was pretty much it, I think, with the council meeting. I mean, there was a couple of things that were talked about, and again, comments that were made, but for the most part, those were the two big things, the PAB, and we were able to fill those, and of course, this fire service agreement. So the next time that we have a meeting, we hope to continue the show at the normal time, right after the council meeting. We should be able to talk about the new mayor at that point in time, so we will see who that will be once all the votes are counted, and we look forward to working with whoever it may be. So we will sit that person down and really go through what we're going through at the county and really what their vision is with the city, because I think that'll be important.
Well, and there's other local elections. So Pittsville, Sean McHugh was just reelected,
Yes.
and Bethany Miller was reelected there too. So congratulations to them. I live in Delmar. Our election's on the 21st.
So that's, you guys are always doing something off, with it.
Right.
So, and I think the mayor's running unopposed.
Yes.
So it looks like it will be Mayor Ben Jordan again, which is great. We have a great working relationship with him. So in advance, congratulations, Ben. And I think that there are two councilmen, right?
There are three candidates for two spots.
Okay, so we'll see what happens there. So that'll be kind of interesting. So Delmar on the 21st. If you live in Delmar, make sure that you get out and vote. It's really important to do so. All right, well, that is all the time that we have. I know we threw a lot at you, but there was a lot that happened over the past 4 weeks. There's probably hundreds more things that I could talk to you about. But I'm going to go ahead and end with a quote. I actually talked about this quote today when we were at the Elks celebrating our veterans for a breakfast, and that was a really nice event. But our quote of the day is by Ronald Reagan, your favorite president. "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day, we will spend our sunset years telling our children what it was like in the United States when men were free." Thank you all. Have a great day, and we will see you soon.